Greetings and salutations, Second Star right back with more Raid Shadow Legends, and you'll notice, perhaps if you've seen my videos, that this is not my usual surroundings. I have changed up my accommodations a little bit because, as you may or may not know, Studio Second Star right is my desk in my bedroom, but my bedroom right now is full of contagion that I want nothing to do with. My wife's sick. It's not COVID. I know it's the age of the pandemic, but she has something much more mild, much stupider, but just irritating enough for me to want nothing to do with it. So I am out here. This is my comic book themed bar that I built in the corner of my living room here. New rum. Spoiled myself a little bit today as I was picking up her prescriptions. So what we have here is Plarium giving us another summon draft. I know we've had a bunch of summon drafts lately, some better than others, some really good, some eh. And then we had a 2x event last week, which was awesome. Sacred Shards, fantastic. But today we're back to another 10x summon draft, but it's a really good one. Now, it's not great. I mean, I like to think of it as a whole bunch of really good champions, and then Ursine Icecrusher. Like, why did you do this to us, Plarium? Now we have an opportunity to get Ursine Icecrusher, which was part of the Battle Pass, and everyone probably already has in their vault because he's not that great. So we'll just get into that as we come across it. Let's just start in order with what they have in the summon draft for this week. Okay, where am I? Alright, let's go over to Bannerlords first, and we will start with Stag Knight. Yes, another Battle Pass champion, but this is the good one, the one who's not Ursine Icecrusher. Okay, so Stag Knight, if you don't have like a Tyrell, someone who has really good crowd control, the decreased attack and decreased defense on one champion, which is really nice, Stag Knight takes that a step further and puts a decreased attack and increased defense on one skill. So we hop over to his A2. His Huntsmaster attacks all enemies, 70% chance of placing the big decreased defense buff, and a 50% chance of placing decreased attack buff for 2 turns. No, 70% chance of placing both of them, and they're both the big version. Okay, so that's awesome. So on a 4-turn cooldown, they can get down to 3 turns with the investment of a few books. You can have an AoE, decreased defense, and decreased attack, which is awesome. Definitely something that you'd want on your team if you can fit that in. I still use my Tyrell. He's super max. He's pretty buff. So I have not built my Stag Knight yet, but I am tempted because something that you can do with the Stag Knight that you cannot do with Tyrell, because this is a passive. He just increases accuracy. If you have someone on your team who misses their debuff or it gets resisted, you increase accuracy. It's fine. But since this is a passive in his A1, which decreases speed for 2 turns. He only has 2 active skills, so if you have a really good reflex set, you can throw it on Stag Knight, and you have a 30% chance of triggering, or at least unlocking, your Huntsmaster again, your A2 again. I've run into that in the arena, and it was an unpleasant experience for me. Now, the arena is always an unpleasant experience for me, but this was just more so. Okay, so just file that away if you have a great reflex set, and you have Stag Knight, and you can definitely wreak some havoc. Okay, so moving on from Stag Knight, we'll go over to Sacred Order, where Venus awaits. Venus is a Void legendary, so really tough to get, but this is a 10x chance to get her. If you have some Void shards, you might want to get Venus. She is a very pretty Dracomorph, basically. Her A2 has the same skill as Dracomorph with a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense and 25% weaken for 2 turns. It's on a 3-turn cooldown natively, so you don't even have to book it down to 3 turns. It's just 3 turns. It's pretty sweet. And then she has a poison on her A1 and an HP burn on her A3. Venus is a really, really good champion, and then she gets even better if Cupidus is on the team, because she gives she gets some bonuses from Cupidus. Cupidus gets some bonuses from her. I have a Cupidus. I don't have a Venus. I think if you see where I'm going with this, I'm definitely going to try to get Venus tomorrow, although I have yet to pull a Void legendary on this account. We'll see what happens next time I pull. So anyway, Venus, fantastic. Everything about her is good. If you do not have a Venus, or you don't have a Dracomorph, she kind of suits both skill sets, just about. So I would definitely pull for a Venus. Okay, moving on. We have, who's next? Organ Tribes, Occult Brawler. Speaking of poisons, this guy is one of the best poisoners around. If you're still early game and using your Outlaw Monk, might want to think about drawing, because Occult Brawler will change your entire clan boss dynamic. Alright, so he has a poison on his A1, which which is always nice. He has a wacky A2, where he does a whole bunch of stuff if he's under debuffs, but there's no way to control that, so it's kind of just kind of lucky if it happens to fall your way. It's nuts. And then, of course, if you're running with a bunch of champions that remove debuffs, it doesn't help you at all. So it can kind of be a lame A2. But that's okay because he's a passive, and his passive, the Ruination Ritual, is pretty sweet. He places a small poison on himself for 4 turns at the start of each turn. So he's always going to be poisoned. But 70% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff on a random enemy for 4 turns at the start of each turn. So now you can see that it's a small price to pay to put the little poison on you if you're putting big poison on your opponents. And his 4 turn is ancient. That's a long time for a poison. So if you can get an Occult Brawler, you don't have one in your clan boss team, it's kind of lacking. He can really turn things around for you if you don't have a good poisoner. Occult Brawler, really good champion. I don't have one. I don't really need one, but I would still want one, right? Because I have a Zavia, and now poison exploding teams are very interesting to me all of a sudden. So I wouldn't mind having another poisoner just so I can have some more flexibility there. What's next? Is anything in Undead Hordes? Yes, there is Harvest Jack. Harvest Jack is a very fun champion. I have a video, I think, that's, you know, top 5 most fun champions in Raid, and Harvest Jack is definitely in there because he's one of those irritating champions. He's kind of like an anti-buffer, where he'll steal your buffs and he'll change your buffs, your opponent's buffs, into something worse. Like if they have a continuous heal, it changes them to a poison. It's pretty sweet. He's hit point based, and he has a pretty big hit point pool, but he does not hit good. That multiplier, turning his hit points into damage, is pretty low. He kind of hits with little soft kitten paws, but his special effects, his crowd control is really, really good. So he has a 3-hit A1. Each hit is 25% chance of stealing a random debuff from the target. Each hit also has a 25% chance of placing a fear for 1 turn if the target has no active buffs, and that chance increases to 100% if you've stolen all the buffs from your target. So definitely a skill that you might want to book if you have extra legendary books, because having that on an A1 is pretty sweet. Dreams to Ash is his A2. As you can see, it blocks buffs, poisons, and decreases attack. That's a lot of stuff, but it kind of doesn't really do them all like in order. So here, we'll go over it. Attacks all enemies. This is AoE. Block debuffs for 2 turns if the target is under fear. Removes any increased attack buff from the target and replaces them with a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. So, you know, you're in there, they have what, Gore Grab or whatever, and the first thing they do is, you know, speed boost and put up the attack. You can go, well, I'm going to change that to decreased attack, so thank you very much. Removes any continuous heal buff from the target and replaces them with poison debuff, so it's kind of an anti-Bad L thing going right there. And the number of poison debuffs is equal to the number of continuous heal buffs removed. So again, you can definitely see some use with that A2. And then A3, another one where a lot of the skills are contingent. Attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a True Fear debuff for 1 turn. You can get that up to 100%, and you can get it down to a 4-turn cooldown. AoE True Fear, that's pretty impressive. 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, and decreases each target's turn meter by 15% if the True Fear debuff is placed. Wow. 75% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn if the True Fear is not placed. So it's going to do something, right? And that's just a 75% chance to place. We can get that up to 100% also. So you can have 100%, 200% chances of doing something to your opponent on an AoE, which is pretty sweet. Passive, also not bad. When attacked, decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. So Harvest Jack, a lot of fun, a lot of versatility, and good in a lot of situations. Unfortunately, he just does not put out much damage. You think he would. I've seen 80,000 hit point Harvest Jacks still not doing a whole lot of damage. It's kind of nuts. Okay, moving on. Who do we have next? Dark Elves. Ah, yes. I have this guy, Vizier Ovelis, who is an amazing, amazing clan boss champion. I have him on my free-to-play account, which is almost a bit of a waste, but I would love to have him on this account. What he does is he's a debuff extender extraordinaire. So, Accursed Blades attacks enemy 3 times. This is just an A1, mind you. Each hit has a 35% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. So on my free-to-play account, where I'm still using Kale on my clan boss team, I have Ovelis, and he turns Kale into this unstoppable poisoning monster, right? And it fills up, you know, you never worry about all 10
debuff slots being put in effect, because he extends them to 4 turns, then to 6 turns, to 11 turns, 15 turns. These debuffs are never going to drop off. It's absolutely amazing. It's game-changing, Vizier Ovelis in Clan Boss. It's really something. His A2, Master of Misery, now it kind of goes downhill from here, but still. Attacks enemy twice. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a block buffs debuff, a 50% decreased attack buff, and 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So he does a lot, but it doesn't really synergize very well with Clan Boss stuff, other than the decreased attack. But what are you gonna do? His A3 is a debuff spreader, so he just spreads debuffs, and he places a Perfect Veil on the champion for 3 turns if the target is under 2 or more debuffs, which is interesting because he also has a passive that at the start of the turn places a Perfect Veil on the champion for 2 turns. So start of the turn, he runs away, hides behind a bush, or gets in the corner, and is only impacted by splash damage in that it's 15% less. Vizier Ovelis, good champion in a boss fight, and particularly a clan boss fight. Okay, we don't have to go very far because Scilar is next up. She is a Void Epic, and she's awesome looking. Definitely one of my favorite champion character designs in the game. Absolutely nuts, man. If I could pull that off, I mean, if I had the body for that, I might think about it. I just might. You never know. Scilar is awesome looking. Although I do wonder, I don't think that these marks in her eyes are makeup. I think that she tries to give people directions and then stabs herself in the face with her pauldron. Right? That's just not a really good design. Like Donde está la biblioteca, and you point. Ugh. So bad design for Scilar, but if that's the thing I'm going to complain about, then that's a pretty good thing to complain about. So she does AoEs on every single attack. All right, so mid game, early game, she's really good to get if you can get her then. Her utility drops off later game, which is kind of a shame because she's a really cool looking champion. But she attacks all enemies, just straight AoE on her A1. Then we have another AoE A2, Toxic Cloud, which places a decreased attack buff for decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns, which is kind of a middling skill. I'm not a huge fan of decreased attack. It's on a 4-turn cooldown that you can get down to 3 turns. And then she has a Leaden Legs. It's another AoE, but it doesn't do any damage. Places a 30% decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, and decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 40%, which is not bad. And that's on a 6-turn native cooldown that you can get down to a 4-turn cooldown if you so desired. And unfortunately, the speed boost is only for faction crypts, so that's less than ideal. Now, the moment I've been waiting for. Madame Serris. Yes, Madame Serris is here again, appearing in a 10x summon draft. She's the last Halloween champion that I've been trying to get, and I don't have. I want this champion so badly. Yes, I made a video of Hope, and Hope in the Secret Order does some things that Madame Serris does. She has a nice cleanse, but it just doesn't do all the things that Madame Serris does, right? And I threatened to 6-star Hope, to abandon my Serris quest if I could just had a Secret Order accuracy banner, which I still don't have, right? I made that video months ago, and how many times have I run Spider since then? How many Spider tournaments have there been? Whatever. Still no Secret Order accuracy banner. So maybe that's fate saying, save those resources for Madame Serris. Maybe tomorrow or today or whenever I pull my void shards, maybe a Madame Serris will land in my lap, let's just say, because she's amazing. Let's go over her skills right quick. Attacks an enemy, 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn, and the chance increases to 30% if the target's under 1 debuff, 45% if the target's under 2 or more debuffs. You can't get those percentages up anymore. You can get some more damage if you want, but 45% on an A1 is not bad. Granted, some things have to fall your way, but still, you're more in control of that because you can choose to run her on a team that places a lot of debuffs out. Okay, her A2, Tricks and Treats is an AoE, 40% chance of stealing a random buff from each target, places a block debuff buff on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen, and then places a True Fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have their buff stolen. Come on, really, Madame Serris? Stop being so good. And then finally her A3, which is what I was referring to, removes all buffs from enemies. But then she also places a 50% decreased attack debuff and a 60% decreased defense debuff. We were just talking about how good that was in Stag Knight. This is even better because she also cleanses all of the buffs from your enemies. So I don't even know what to say. 6-turn cooldown, get down to 4 turns. Absolutely astounding. And then, as if that wasn't enough, she'll also self-shield for 10% of her max hit points at the start of a turn. And then if she's attacked, there's a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker, just as a middle finger to the person who had the audacity to attack Madame Serris. She is so good. I'm really hoping beyond hope that Madame Serris falls my way come the morrow. Alright, so is there anyone else? I think that was it. Oh yeah, Ursine Ironhide. I don't even know why I have to talk about that bitch. Okay. Skinwalkers. Ursine Ironhide. Why? Ursine Icecrusher. Why is Icecrusher in here? Granted, really great character design. I love the bears. I hope they add more bears to the game. Definitely, and I just hope they're more useful, right? I love his Wolverine claws. I actually have, you can see here, I have the first appearance of Wolverine in Hulk 181. Framed. Oh my god, I love that comic. Okay, so Ursine Icecrusher attacks an enemy with his ravaging paw, 10% chance of placing a block cooldown, damage based on defense. Great, you can increase the debuff chance, but it starts out at 10%, so you kind of have to invest books. It's a trap, really. That's a trap skill. Actually, this is a trap champion. Everything is awful about this champion when you think about how much book investment it takes for so little gain. If you have a different opinion, please let me know. If you make this champion work great, let me know. But I'm just not impressed so far. 4-turn native cooldown under A2, the Howling Gale. You can get it down to 3 turns if you want for an AoE. Excuse me, with 75% chance placing a decreased crit rate debuff for 2 turns. A lot of people are running with 100%. That gets done, what, 70%? So there's still a better than average chance of them critting you. It seems like a little bit of waste of skill to me. You let me know if you have a different opinion. And then the passive is interesting, but again, I just think they don't go far enough with it. Shroud of Winter decreases the damage all allies receive from crits by 15%. Fills the champion's turn meter by 5% whenever an enemy lands a normal, strong, or weak hit. You know, I just think they could have been... I think it could have been better. I don't know. I have not built one. I know they synergize really well with the other bear counterpart, Ursine Ironhide, but, you know, if anyone who had the Battle Pass has these in their vault, I don't think they're using them. I very rarely run into them in the wild. So I just think that they're not one of the cool kids, right? All these other champions that we talked about, you know, they're the vanguard, you know, leading the pack, and then Ursine Icecrusher's, you know, in the back of the bus, right? Just kind of, I don't know what he's doing. Eating his lunch out of a brown paper sack? I don't know. Ursine Icecrusher, I don't have time for. But that should be it, guys. I think I've addressed everything of note. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know that I am. Okay, so let me know what you think. I'm definitely pulling. There's some champions in here that I really want. I really want Venus. What are the odds? I really want a Vizier on this account. I really want Madame Serris. So there's 3 champions that I'm super interested to get. I would like to get an Occult Brawler, but it's not a deal breaker. But I would love to get one of those top 3. So let me know what you think. Are you going to draw? Is this something that you're interested in? Let me know, and let me know how you do. And I will talk to you guys next time. All right. Cheers. Take care. Adios. Stop recording. Oh, gosh, technology.